Before I begin, I want to thank my two moms. Verge Burrows, my secretary, who has stood with me each day here at North, protected me and put up with my crazy running around campus, flying in the office ways, and has shown so much love and support. So here's to the best secretary and North alum, Mrs. Verge Burrows. I want to thank my second mom, Miss Becky Porter, our activities director. Becky, I'm going to miss you more than you know. You've been serving our school since 1983, nearly 40 years. You have been the most influential person in our school's history, and there's no one who could argue against that. I want to next thank the best staff, the teachers, administrators, clerical staff, custodians, instructional assistants, and nutrition services staff of John Wesley North High School. Here's a snapshot of this year. We have nearly 80 students who earned the seal of biliteracy, 34 who earned the seal of multiliteracy. Freddie Hodnett, our student board member, has been possibly the most active and courageous student board member RUSD has ever seen. Football, girls soccer, boys water polo, wrestling, girls cross country won league titles. Our mock trial under the leadership of Ms. Ford made the Elite Eight for the third year in a row. Samantha Sinclair was named Female Athlete of the Year. Peter Carney was named Male Athlete of the Year. We have 18 graduates from 18 birth nations. We have 18 Presidential Awards of Excellence, 2 National AP Scholars. Audrey Shui was National Merit Finalist, and our AVID program earned the National Demonstration Revalidation. Giovanni Alvarado was our first 2-time CIF Place winner for that sport of wrestling. Michael Metellus will attend the prestigious HBCU Morehouse College, joining the likes of North alum Josh Beverly and the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Amari Jenkins earned a full athletic scholarship to run track at UCSD. All right, familia, I'm speaking on a teleprompter right now. You know the words are on the side of the camera, and I'm supposed to pretend like I'm not reading, like a newscaster. But I want you to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I always keep it real with you. In this message, you'll see why I had to read this and not just go off the dome. So here we go. Graduating class of 2020, here's my message to you. Right now, I'm walking through the campus at 7:30 at night, May 5th, and we just distributed the caps and gowns earlier today. This is not a graduation speech. And to be honest, for the last few weeks, I've been struggling with the words to say how much I love and care for you and how valuable you are. This has been the longest I've ever taken to write a speech, the most writer's block that I've ever had, and it's the most intimidated I've ever been about delivering a message to an audience. And you know, I say this out of humility and honesty, but I give speeches to large groups all the time. I'm the principal that dances during halftime at homecoming, break dances at assemblies, and raps before the entire community. Doesn't make sense that I would be nervous, does it? Well, actually it does. Because the more valuable the person or group you're speaking to, the more important the message becomes. So I want to share a little. My name's Ben Nakamura, born February 16, 1980. Dad was in the California Youth Authority and then in the men's state prison. He met my mother in a mental institute because she found out she was adopted and came into contact with her biological mother at the age of 18, who was an extreme alcoholic. Her adoptive family told her that she was born into that family. So when her mom comes onto the scene, she felt betrayed and empty, and she tries to kill herself. My father's doing community service for parole, and he meets my suicidal mother, and they have 4 children together. My parents eventually divorce, and my dad falls into his old ways. My mom gets depressed, starts drinking alcohol, smoking weed, and shooting up heroin. I live in that drug home for the next few years, physically abused, neglected, emotionally abused, sexually abused. Needless to say, I did poor in school. My mom dies from that heroin overdose when I'm in 6th grade, and our father gets full custody. In school, as a child, the one thing I remember about teachers and administrators is that they didn't like me. They were always angry. I never felt like I belonged, always in detention, suspended, and in trouble. The first time I'm arrested, I'm outside Letha Rainey Intermediate as an 8th grader in Corona, and I get in a fight, and I hurt somebody really bad. I go to the assistant principal's office the next day because of it, and he tells me that I'll end up in prison if I don't change my ways. He reprimands me, and he speaks down to me. No love, no compassion, no empathy. So I think to myself, what would you do, Mr. Assistant Principal, if your dad, an aggressive and angry felon, told you that you had to beat this kid up, and then if you didn't, he was going to beat you? I knew that was more than a threat because my dad had beaten me many times before, punched me in the face, foot sweep me, choked me. So I wonder what my assistant principal would have done if that was his dad. And now this AP is telling me that I'm going to end up in jail? I'm not saying any of this to make anybody feel sorry for me. but I'm doing this to paint a picture to our audience, the community and the world, so they know the reality of many of our students. My story's not unique. My suffering's not the greatest. My challenges aren't the worst, but they're real to me, and they represent a group of students to this day, many of which are at John W. North High School, that are marginalized and disrespected by a system that was never designed for them. And you all know that this is my last year here, so I'm gonna go all out for you with everything I got. I'm not like any other principal. I'm not saying that to brag, but there's no other principal that will deliver a message or will love his students like I love you. And you know that I'll fight for you to the death. When we had a student last year who tried to jump off the overpass, and I grabbed her and I pulled her down at the risk of my own life without any hesitation, that's because of the stuff that I've been through as a youth. When we have gang members that try to come on campus and then I meet them in the business park, take off my jacket and my walkie-talkie, and I tell them, ain't nobody getting past me, because no one will mess with my students. That's a principle that nobody else has. That's straight stuff from movies. You all know that I love you. I see you. I shake your hands. I give you high fives, and I greet you every day. Our student leaders, they come to me with tears in their eyes, and they tell me that I'm a father to them, and I give them hope to become someone better. Well, you know that same love and passion and commitment that I have, that's the same fire that I see in the eyes of each of you. And all it needs is to be cultivated. All it needs is someone to love you who is in a position of power that says, I see you. I see that greatness in you. I'm not gonna label you by your circumstances, but instead, I'm gonna understand you got something inside of you that other people don't have. And that's what I see in you. My call to you is, it's not a graduation speech, giving you some catchy quotes and statistics and funny little jokes about life after high school, blah, blah, blah. 2 roads diverged in the forest. I picked the one, less travel, yada, yada. No, my speech to you is one from the heart, a little rough around the edges, little streets, a little gutter. Maybe not what some would call standard English, but it's purposeful, it's real, it's raw, it's the language of the people. You don't deserve someone to come and give you a prepackaged speech. You don't deserve someone coming from upper middle class affluence who's always had everything handed to them with a silver spoon in their mouth, telling you, try hard, shoot for the stars, live your best life. You don't deserve that. That would be disrespect to you. You deserve someone to be real, transparent, and throw aside this fake image of, I got my stuff together and everything's all good for me. Just imitate me and then maybe you can be as good as I am. No, forget that. You guys are better than me. You have a brighter future than me. I don't want you to make the same stupid mistakes that I did. I don't want you to start going down some dark roads that I traveled in my youth, close to a path that maybe others in your family and in the community have been either. It's not because your family and community is bad, but there's this systemic oppression. There's institutionalized racism. There's nationwide discrimination, hate, and bias that have put people in positions where they're in a struggle. It's easy to look at people and judge them and look down on them, but there are policies and systems that have put people in those unfair conditions. So here's my wondering. If all of us teachers and administrators just walked one day in your shoes, if we could even make it through the doors of the schoolhouse just one time. I wonder if we walked in your shoes for one day, if we wouldn't think about ending our lives. I wonder if we walked in your shoes for one day, if we would have the courage and integrity to come to school and class and rise up and overcome these obstacles and graduate high school and maintain hope and still be giving back to other people. I wonder. I'm reading right now, and not because I'm not speaking from my heart, but because I want to make sure that the Spirit's not lost in the message. Where am I writing this? I'm not writing this in an air-conditioned office. Well, 1, because the air conditioning in my office barely works, but 2, because you don't lead behind a computer screen. You don't inspire others sitting in an office. You don't lead resting on your laurels, so to speak. You lead and uplift others by being in the mix with the people that you serve. So where am I writing this speech? I'm walking down the east side. Right now, I'm writing this walking down 3rd Street, walking in front of a house with an old beat-up chair, half in the sidewalk, half in the street, past Montana and Kansas, walking through Longfellow right now. And it's a little bit scary for me, I'm not gonna lie. I think I've been pretty tough. I've been through some stuff, but am I really that tough to walk through the neighborhoods for a few hours that you walk through every single day? Am I that tough to, in the evening, in my educated state, just to walk for a few hours through the reality that you live all day, every day, there's a little bit of fear inside of me, but that's good. It's a reminder to me that you're tougher than I am. It's a reminder that you've been through more stuff than I've been through. It's a reminder to all of us to not forget the struggles we've faced and overcame. It's a reminder. Never forget where we come from. It's a reminder. Stay humble. It's a reminder that when we get educated not just so we can have a nice car. You know, like a Dodge Challenger, Scat Pack, a little system, 12-inch subwoofer in the back to bump. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's my car. But it's not just for that. It's a reminder that when we do get that education, when we do get those letters behind our name, the BA, MA, PhD, MD, when we do become an elected official, we do that not just for ourselves, but to remember those whose shoes we were once in, to recognize that we have a social, moral obligation to serve and uplift others just as others have served and uplifted us. That's what this reminder is about. You know that I love you. You know that I would die for you. It's the hardest thing for me to read this speech and say I'm not going to be here at North next year, but I'm going to tell you what. I'll always be a Husky, just as you will always be a Husky, because we got that expression. Once a Husky, always a Husky. You know what that means? You know what that expression means? Don't forget where you come from. Don't forget John Wesley North High School. Don't forget who John Wesley North was, an abolitionist, a highly educated man who was on a state Supreme Court and a colleague of Abraham Lincoln. But when people found out what he stood for, they boycotted, protested against him, and ran him out of the city. You know why? Because the people in that city were trying to lynch, hang, murder a black man. And he somehow talked the mob out of it, but not without a cost. They ran him out of the city, and he lost everything he had. But he comes to a little town that didn't even have a name. And you know what that city is right now? Riverside. Riverside, the 951. And you know who that person, John Wesley North, is? He's the founder of our city. You know the only school named after the founder of our city? It's not up the hill. It's not down the street. It's right here in the east side. It's John W. North High School, the illustrious, the one and the only. That's our school. Here's my message. Yes, life is not fair. Yes, the cards aren't in your favor. Yes, the odds are stacked against you. But remember this, you got people who got your back. Remember this. Stand for what's right, even if that means that you're standing alone. So maybe people in positions of unearned power and influence, they don't walk, talk, and look like you. But we're changing that around, and it starts here with us, with who we are as Huskies. That's why your principal is delivering this message this kind of way, with this kind of language, keeping it 10,000. Right now, I'm walking down La Paz, right by La Paz Apartments on Linden, and I think about this reality that you live every single day. See that strength that you got? See, when those people in positions of power want to look down on you and think that they're better than you, keep this in mind. They can't walk where you walk. They can't eat where you eat. They can't live where you live, and they can't overcome the way that you overcome. Why? They don't have the strength that you have. They haven't been through the training, the testing, the battleground, the proving ground that you've been through. They haven't been through the fire, so they don't have that fire. Keep your fire. Don't let them or anyone else stamp it out of you. Your fire is your gift. If anyone can overcome, it's you. If anyone can rise to the occasion, it's you. If anyone can win a 4-lap race and when the competition only has to run 2, it's you. Never let anyone look down upon you. Never let anyone tell you that you're not worthy. Never let anybody tell you that you don't belong and you don't have a seat at the table. Shoot, not only should you have a seat at the table, you made that table. That table was made on the backs of your people. And now people are going to tell you that you don't deserve a seat at it. If it wasn't for you and your people, there wouldn't even be a table. I'm on Linden in Ottawa, standing in Patterson Park, May 5th, 8:30 at night. This is where you live. This is your community. You've been tried by that fire. So let me ask you this question. When you rise up and you don't sell yourself short, what you gonna do? Maybe you're gonna go off to UC Berkeley like Adrian Claiborne. Maybe you're like Angel Renteria going to serve in the United States Army, or like Kennedy Boyette going to Spelman, or Arzon Esparza going to UCLA, Jeanette Aboyetz at RCC to study sign language interpreting, Brianna Casares nursing at CBU, Aaron Guzman majoring in architecture, or Dana Ceja with pre-law at the University of Colorado. Mia Tamayo with biomedical science on a pre-med track, Lindsay Fuqua, attending UC Berkeley, majoring in biochem. Isabella Delgado, studying bio at Northern Arizona University. Esther Sepulveda, majoring in history at Cal State San Bernardino. David Salinas, majoring in business administration at UCR. Samantha Sinclair, majoring in marine biology at the University of Hawaii. Brian Chavira, majoring in mechanical engineering at UC Merced. So maybe that's you. So when you continue to push, fight, and rise through that grind and not sell yourself short, set your goals ridiculously high, and you make it, and you arrive where you wanted to be, what you gonna do with it? Is that the goal? To be successful? Is that the goal? There's so many avenues to success. There's so many ways to earn green pieces of paper. There's so many ways to earn money. Many people are successful, but few are significant. Successful people earn money and help themselves. Significant people uplift communities. They transform lives. They leave a legacy. I want to call on you to be significant, to leave a legacy for your people, for your community, for your family, your country, your grandparents, the ones who paved the way, and maybe they didn't make it all the way. I want you to do it for them. Change a culture, change a history. Show your families that those sacrifices weren't in vain. Give back, serve, and be significant. This is your community where champions, warriors, winners, and leaders are born, bred, and built. Don't ever let anyone quench that fire inside of you. Don't lose your fire. Rise up for your community. You're the future. You're the future that will right the wrongs. You're the future that's going to rise above. You're going to make our country more compassionate, more caring, inclusive, and respectful to all its citizens, not just some. In closing, I'm saying, as your principal who loves you with all my heart, go forth, be Huskies, be proud, never forget where you came from. Understand that you were called to this. So every time someone throws dirt on your back, like the message I gave to the seniors 2 years ago at the graduation, that very dirt that was designed to bury you, shake it off and step up so it can lift you up. The very dirt that was designed to hold you down and silence your voice, use that as fuel to become better and stronger. Don't keep it status quo. Don't be cynical, but be radical. Have dreams so big that people laugh at you and say, oh, no, that's probably too much for you. You need a backup plan. Nah, because if you were up the hill and you had everything handed to you and you said you wanted to be a doctor, a senator, the president of the United States, if you were up the hill and you had that dream, you know what people would do? They say, good, yeah, you can do that, perfect. We're going to help you get there. But when you come down low here in the east side and you say that's your dream, that's your goal, they might look at you and say, oh, well, have you thought of a backup plan? Are you sure you want to do that? I'm not saying it's bad to have a plan B, but every time someone tells you that, they throw that little shade on you. They kind of give you that little look, a pause, or a that's dirt to keep you down, to make you feel like you don't belong or that you're less than. Every single time that dirt was thrown at you that was intended to bury you, use it to rise up. Huskies, that's right. Freestyle Fridays, Bakers, the UV, Jack in the Box. You know what I'm talking about. Stater Brothers, the arcade, our little theater that does big things, USL, Renaissance, Link Crew, and the OG MCC, John Wesley North High School, 1550 3rd Street, right here, East Side, Riverside, John Wesley North High School, the illustrious, don't mess with us. We come and represent. 2020 is when I graduate, like Brother Slim said. 2020 is when I graduate. Stay true, stay strong, stay gutter, stay humble, stay real, stay a Husky. 2020 is when I graduate. I love you. I'm out.